Welcome to our video about the fascinating world of Pokemon and their placement on the Tree of Life. Today, we take a closer look at Hitmonchan and its relationship with Hitmonlee. Ready? Let's go! The Guinon relatives, Cercopithecidae, are a primate family. They constitute the only extant family of tailed Old World monkeys, Cercopithecidae. With around 160 species, they form the most species-rich primate family. Guinon relatives are widespread across large parts of Africa and Asia. They all live in groups with complex social structures. They are divided into two subfamilies, the cheek pouch monkeys and the slender and colobus monkeys. Among the best-known representatives are the guinons, baboons, macaques, mandrill, colobus monkeys, languors, and the proboscis monkey. Guinon relatives are relatively large, heavily built animals. Head body lengths range from 32 to 110 centimeters, and the tail, if present, can reach up to 103 centimeters in length. The tail is not used as a prehensile tail, but serves to maintain balance. However, there are also tailless representatives, such as the Barbary macaque. The lightest members are the dwarf guinons, which reach just over 1 kilogram, while the mandrill can weigh over 50 kilograms. In most species, there is a pronounced sexual dimorphism in weight. The males can sometimes be twice as heavy as the females. Sometimes there are also differences in coat coloration, such as in the mantled guinon. The fur is usually in shades of gray, brown, or black. Its length depends on the habitat. In many species, there is a crest of hair, cheek whiskers, or a mane on the shoulders and back. The palms and soles are hairless, as is often the case with the buttocks region, where brightly colored callosities are frequently found. The forelimbs are usually shorter than the hind limbs, especially in the slender and colobus monkeys. Hands and feet each end in 5 fingers, all equipped with a nail. The thumb is opposable if present. In colobus monkeys, it is reduced. The first toe is also opposable. The head is rounded, and the cranial cavity is usually relatively large. The face is often hairless and usually darkly colored, with the colorful face of male mandrills being an exception. In some species, the snout is extended forward, giving a dog-like impression. The nostrils are close together and point downward, distinguishing them as narrow-nosed monkeys from the New World monkeys, which are also called broad-nosed monkeys. The facial muscles are well developed. Facial expressions and grimaces play an important role in communication. The dental formula in all species is I2, C1, P2, M3, totaling 32 teeth. The incisors are broad in cheek pouch monkeys and narrow in slender and colobus monkeys. The upper canines are elongated like tusks, while the lower ones are slightly curved inward and backward. The canines primarily serve for display behavior, but in omnivorous species also for catching prey. Males often have longer canines than females. The molars are bilophodont in structure, meaning they have front and rear pairs of cusps connected by a transverse ridge. This specific structure of the molars may have been the key feature for the evolutionary success of this group. In slender and colobus monkeys, the molar cusps are higher and sharper than in cheek pouch monkeys. The defining characteristic of the cheek pouch monkeys is their expandable cheek pouches. Guinon relatives are native to almost all of Africa, but not Madagascar, as well as large parts of Asia from the Arabian Peninsula through South Asia to East and Southeast Asia. The Barbary macaque lives in Gibraltar and is thus the only non-human primate species living freely in Europe. They have a larger distribution range than all other primate families except humans, living farther north, up to Japan, and farther southeast, up to Timor, than any other group. Many species are forest dwellers, but the range of habitats is broad and also includes savannas and mountainous regions. Some species, such as the snub-nosed monkeys, occur at altitudes of up to 4,500 meters and are among the most cold-tolerant primates. Others, such as rhesus macaques and Hanuman languors, have adapted to humans and live in large numbers in cities. The lifestyle of Guinon relatives is variable and also depends on the habitat. There are strictly arboreal species that hardly ever come to the ground, as well as several semi-terrestrial species that live partly on the ground and partly in the trees. The most pronounced ground dweller is the gelada. Locomotion generally occurs both on the ground and in the trees in a quadrupedal gait. They can only briefly rise onto their hind legs. The strongly arboreal slender and colobus monkeys can also move by leaping or suspensory locomotion, hanging from branches. Many guenon relatives are good swimmers. Notable examples include the proboscis monkey and the swamp guenon, which can also dive underwater when threatened. Guenon relatives are almost exclusively diurnal. However, many otherwise ground-dwelling species retreat to the trees for nighttime rest, while others use inaccessible cliffs or even caves for this purpose. Guenon relatives usually live in groups and also display complex social behavior. There are two group forms. One is the one male or harem group, in which a single male gathers several females around him and does not tolerate rivals. The other is the multi-male group, in which several males live together with many females, although the females are usually significantly in the majority. Remaining males live in bachelor groups or sometimes as solitary individuals. Some species also exhibit a flexible fission fusion system. A larger group frequently splits into smaller subgroups, for example during foraging, and later reunites, for example for nighttime rest. Since females usually do not leave their natal group, unlike males, but remain there for life, a circle of closely related females typically forms the core of a group. Within the females, a hierarchy is established, which is based, among other things, on lineage. If several males live in a group, they also form a hierarchy. These hierarchies play a role in access to food resources and reproduction. The only monogamous species in this family is likely the Mentawai langur. The animals communicate with each other through a variety of vocalizations, facial expressions, and body postures. The two subfamilies of guenon relatives have adapted to different diets. The cheek pouch monkeys are omnivores with a focus on fruits. In addition, they consume seeds, nuts, leaves, flowers, roots, tubers, and other plant parts, as well as insects and other invertebrates, along with small vertebrates. Their defining characteristic is the expandable cheek pouches, in which they can store food to chew it later in peace. The slender and colobus monkeys, on the other hand, are almost exclusively herbivores, often primarily consuming leaves. They also eat flowers and fruits and other items, while insects and other animals are consumed only occasionally at best. To better process their food, especially the hard-to-digest leaves, they have developed a multi-chambered stomach similar to that of ruminants. In contrast to the cheek pouch monkeys, however, they do not possess cheek pouches. The superfamily of tailed Old World monkeys includes, in addition to today's guenon relatives, some extinct taxa such as the Cercopithecidae and the Prolobatidae. According to molecular genetic studies, the radiation of the guenon relatives began only in geologically recent times, during the Middle to Late Miocene. Previously, other groups of Old World monkeys and also hominoids were more widely distributed in greater diversity. Today, the guenon relatives represent the dominant primate fauna of Asia and Africa. Fossil evidence of tailed Old World monkeys dates back to the Upper Oligocene and Lower Miocene of Eastern Africa. These are relatively rare and consist of a few teeth, including the approximately 22-million-year-old finds from Alafa in the Nakwai region of Kenya. The oldest fossils assigned to the family Cercopithecidae come from the Tugen Hills in Kenya. They have been dated to an age of 12.5 million years. That's it for now. In the next episode, we take a closer look at wheezing and its surprising connection to tentacruel. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and check in next time.